So, how did you feel about Dave Chappelle's 8 minutes 46 seconds? Because it wasn't really a comedy set, and it
No.
was very political, but it was also historic in terms of him talking about historical events that have happened in America, all the way to his own great grandfather.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile a comedian getting on stage like Dave Chappelle and talking for 27 minutes about hardcore serious stuff, and really maybe twice in the 27 minutes you laughed?
I think that a lot of times people confuse comedy as something that has to be associated with you laughing, and it can
Okay.
be familiarity. The way that you get a laugh is not always necessarily. It's like Black people always talk about, like, you got McDonald's money, right? Like your mom says that, and
Yep.
like you hear it enough, but it doesn't necessarily make you laugh so hard your belly hurts, right? It's a laugh of recognition. So you recognize it as something that is true, and there's a lot of truth that comes in Black folks comedy. I watched it. I think there's a couple things, especially with Dave Chappelle. There is he has a history of transphobia. There's also, in that speech, he doesn't mention one Black woman, right? So I think that
Candace Owens.
Oh, and also when he mentions her, he
calls her a bitch.
Yeah, he calls her a bitch. So I think that we have to reconcile with our comedy as being powerful, but also recognize the misogyny that is within it. So like
did you feel like he should have mentioned transgenders, or did you feel like what is it that you felt like was missing?
I feel like this is what I'll say. I'll speak my truth, right? Because I can only speak my truth. But I think that Black women are often fighting for everyone. And a lot of times we find that men, not just Black men, will not fight a cause until it directly affects them, until they see themselves in it. When I have a daughter, when I speak of my wife, now I care about women, right? Like, that's somebody's daughter, that's somebody's sister. That is to convince men to care about things, right? And I think that the truth is he definitely sees himself in George Floyd, right?
Absolutely.
That is powerful enough to make him do a stand-up, like to speak his truth. And he has an amazing platform for it. But like, I will not ignore the transphobia that he has brought with his comedy from the last special. I think that you can recognize the power and the truth, but also recognize that there's still a lot of work to be done in our community to make it really, truly inclusive. Like, all women, all trans folks, right? Our community is not just Black men. And I think as soon as we recognize everybody is fighting, then we can have, I think that is the thing.
This brings me to another subject, and we're off topic, but I just have to, I have a problem with, why are we all looking for credit? If Black Lives Matter, then Black Lives Matter, right?
Absolutely.
So why does everybody want credit? Why are women like, well, I matter too, and then there are the trans community, well, we matter too, and then there's the gay community, well, what about us? And then, inevitably, here come all the white folk, all lives matter. So like, why does everybody want to take credit for or want to share in the fandom of the unjust? I mean, we get it. Like, we know, everybody knows that only old white men have benefited from America.
Absolutely.
Period. And anybody outside of that, and that's including white women, have not been the beneficiary of what's good in America. White women couldn't vote either. You know what I mean? So why is it when we fight for a cause, we have to pick at it? Why do we have to pick at it so? If Black Lives Matter, then Black Lives Matter. Shit. Everybody Black.
I think that when I think about it, the best way I can think about it is specificity kills ambiguity. That's the best thing I can say, because Black Lives Matter, white folks get mad because there's this assumption that we are saying that everyone's lives don't matter. But when I say Black Lives Matter, we are a patriarchal society. So that assumption is often for specifically Black men. And that is not a denial. Obviously, all Black lives matter. But what I'm saying
but
is,
aren't we specifically talking about Black men in a sense? We're also talking about Black women, because Black women have been killed at the hands of police. But I think when we say Black Lives Matter, we are more specifically talking about police brutality amongst Black Americans, period.
and I think that people, even though that is absolutely true, we can't deny the patriarchy. When people think about police brutality, oftentimes it is specifically towards Black men. And that's why we also added say her name, because we weren't saying women's names. We weren't saying trans women's names, like our most marginalized, our most people who can be hurt, the people at the bottom of the bottom. Yes, there's a lot.
Aren't we all hurting?
Absolutely. We are all hurting. I think we are all hurting, but Black trans women live to be 35. Right. That's their age, that their life expectancy. Excuse me, I'm trying to find the words for it. So I think that we can't ignore that even within the Black community, there are even people that we ignore. The gay community, the trans community. We're killing Black trans women left and right. And it's not just the police. It's like they die and we do not say their names.
Duly noted. That is, yes, you're absolutely right about that. That has been a cause and a movement at some point, and it kind of faded away.